Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it, and thank you for having this hearing. In Colorado, 14 years ago, I guess, I was the superintendent of the Denver Public Schools, and it was very uncommon to meet a teacher who didn't live in Denver if they worked in the Denver Public Schools. Today, it's impossible for a teacher to afford to live not only in Denver, but in suburban Denver. I had the Colorado Teacher of the Year come visit me a month or so ago. She's from Glenwood Springs, which is a rural community on the western slope of Colorado. And in passing, she wasn't complaining, but she just made the observation that 70 to 80% of her colleagues in the middle school and the high school where she teaches have to have 2 or 3 jobs just to live in Glenwood Springs. So, you know, this is a real failure on the part of our society, I think, to be able to create workforce housing in our states, and it's getting to the point where we're losing businesses and losing medical practices because people simply can't afford to live in the state of Colorado anymore. Housing costs are far outpacing incomes in every single Colorado community. In Metro Denver, average rent increased more than 14% last year, and the median home price in Denver, Colorado recently topped $600,000, which is up 20% from the previous year. But in Durango, which is on the western slope of Colorado and southwestern rural part of our state, the median price for an in-town home hit $650,000 last year, a 30% increase from the previous year. Employers across Colorado, especially in mountain towns, rural areas, tell me they can't hire because of the shortage of housing. In 2021, last year, I convened a diverse bipartisan group of 30 leaders from across the state to develop solutions to the housing crisis. These are experts in housing who are looking at it from all different vantage points. Their top recommendation, it won't surprise anybody on this panel, is to do everything in our power to increase housing supply, including expanding existing programs that work. We need to do more to modernize our government's response at every level, give communities greater flexibility, and embrace innovation and promote housing stability, as my Eviction Crisis Act with Senator Portman would do. The Low-Income Housing Tax Credit is our most effective existing program to build new affordable housing. And Ms. Bell, I'm actually coming to a question for you, but that's why I strongly support Senator Cantwell and Young's Affordable Housing Credit Improvement Act to expand LIHTC. I'm also pushing for swift implementation of one improvement Congress already has passed to expand LIHTC-developed housing to more families. Back in 2018, Congress created the average income test, enabling LIHTC to serve households earning up to 80% of median family income. In May, Senator Young and I led a bipartisan bicameral group of colleagues calling on IRS and Treasury to expedite release of a final workable rule on the average income test. Ms. Bell, how would finalizing the average income tax rule expand affordable housing to more families in this country?
Thank you for the question, Senator. And I know that there is collective solidarity and alignment in the experiences of folks in the state that you serve around affordable housing. So the average income test, which Congress enacted for the housing credit in 2018, is actually an important new tool that will make housing credit properties more economically diverse. And this is done by allowing owners to serve households earning up to 80% of the area median income, while at the same time still making sure that units are underwritten to be affordable for some of our individuals and families with the lowest incomes. And so the average income test does this by using rental income that is charged by the higher income but still lower income households to essentially offset the lower rents charged to households who may be very low or in some cases extremely low income. The proposed rule implementing the average income test was simply, historically was simply unworkable, and I think some of the interest has chilled in that, but there is some very meaningful positive steps forward within the average income test, and we're certainly grateful to you and the other senators that have signed on to urge Treasury and IRS to really focus on this particular area.
And I hope this committee will keep pushing. Mr. Chairman, I had another question, but I'm conscious of my colleagues, so Ms. Wade, I'll submit a question on homelessness for the record, and I'll yield.
I thank my colleague, and